Morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. The CPI is the big story. Weaker than expected. That is undercutting the inflation hawk argument a little bit. And that was good for 20 points at 8:30 Eastern time on the S&P 500. We're off of the highs right now, but still to the upside. Take a look at the sector leaders. And they've been the leaders throughout the month, really. Energy and semiconductors are two of the big market leaders. It hasn't been a huge outperformance from a lot of sectors this month, but consumer discretionary up. Healthcare, banks have been weak, essentially sideways to down for many, many months now. They've not been a leadership group for a long time. A lot of people complain so far we've been a kind of a trendless market. That's not quite true. The S&P is down about 1%. There have been a few modest outperformers, but not many. Most of them are in the tech space. So if you look here, technology sectors like semiconductors have been strong recently. Cloud technology has been doing well. Energy in the cyclical group has been the one big outperformer among cyclicals. Nasdaq 100 flattish. Remember, the S&P is down about 1%. More interesting is the downside trends that we've seen. So pharmaceuticals have been down. You've heard about these concerns about the government getting involved again in potentially Medicare and pricing drugs there. That's been an issue. That's hurt them. Home construction down on higher labor and material costs. Retail down on the reopening story, softening a little bit, as are industrials and transportation. So more interesting what's happening on that side of things. But again, not a big decline overall. Not trendless is the IPO market. Keeping track of this every day. The calendar's filling up. We told you a couple of weeks ago about names that were potentially out there, but we don't have them on a calendar. We're starting to get calendars filling up. So this week we'll get On Holding down here. That's a big shoe and apparel company from Switzerland. That'll be at the NYSE. ThoughtWorks Holding will be at the Nasdaq, big digital consulting group. Next week, Toast should be coming as well. Digital payments, AKA Brands, that's out there. That's a big fashion retailer that's out. And the week after that, Warby Parker in a direct listing will be down here at the New York Stock Exchange. This calendar is going to fill up. I anticipate in the next week, I'll have a lot more of the big names, particularly some of those big consumer names that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Finally, GENSLER is testifying today, and of course, in the Senate Banking Committee. And it's very clear there's three main policy initiatives that he's pushing, that he's going to emphasize. The first one is, of course, on market structure and on payment for order flow. He's made it very clear that he is basically hostile to payment for order flow and excessive concentration, as he calls it, of market players. There's really two that we're talking about. That is Citadel and Virtu. We'll hear what they have to say later on. He also is talking a lot about predictive analytics. This is a fancy statistical term, but it really refers to gamification of trading. He's made it very clear that he's concerned about gamification of trading and has made it clear that he thinks it poses conflicts of interest for the broker, since they're designed to optimize trading, he believes, and revenue and data collection, and he thinks there's a conflict of interest, and he's been very vocal about that. Finally, on crypto, and this is probably going to be the most controversial, last week he really surprised a lot of people by essentially indicating that Coinbase's lending program might be a security, the move here indicates that he is considering most crypto assets as security at this point, and he's bringing all these assets. He wants to bring them within the purview of the SEC. So he's essentially taking a step back here. He's attempting to seize regulatory control over a very large swath of crypto assets. And, you know, Carl, I think what's going on here is he's made it clear he believes it's necessary to get clarity on the regulatory front before he moves ahead with anything else in the crypto space, and that includes the much-awaited, long-awaited crypto ETF, the Bitcoin ETF that's out there. I don't think you're going to see anything until we clarify exactly what kind of regulatory control the SEC has over these. So we'll be monitoring GENSLER. He'll be here tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And by the way, 3 p.m. today at Eastern Time, Doug Sifu, the head of Virtu, will have him on closing bell to get his response to GENSLER's comments this morning.